Hello, hello. Welcome to January 2025 mini retreat from Soulful Sorrow. This is our very first mini retreat in the new year. And it's such an honor to be with you all, to create this space with you and for you. And these mini retreats are honestly such a beautiful blessing, both to me and I know to the whole community. These are free offerings, free gathering times where we as a collective get to connect and fill our cups and get and gain some really beautiful holistic healing tools. Here at A Soulful Sorrow, we talk about loss, probably in ways that maybe you haven't heard of before. We really go deep. We talk about the real raw realities of what it is to lose a pregnancy and everything that goes along with it. So today we'll be focusing in on secondary loss. And so if that is a new term for you, or even a term that you're somewhat familiar with, today it's really going to be all about honoring the journey that you've been on, the journey that you're on currently, and then gaining some tools and some connections to help you move through this as easefully and as gracefully as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and start to share my screen. And I just have to say, whether you're watching or whether you are tuning in live or watching the recording, I just have to tip my hat to you and just honor the fact that you showed up today, because I know even as like I'm an extrovert, but even so, I know how awkward and like kind of scary it can be to log on to Zoom and to show up to something that like you're not fully sure what to expect. And so all of that to say, I just have to commend you and maybe give yourself a little pat on the back for just showing up for yourself, because it's kind of a big leap of faith to show up to these things and not really know what it's all about. So we're so glad that you're here. First and foremost, I'll introduce myself a little more in case we haven't met. I have been taking a little hiatus off of social media. I needed the break. I don't know if you guys get that feeling from time to time. I feel like I just needed to like start the new year with a cleansed outlook and really get back to the heart of the medicine of what we're doing here at A Soulful Sorrow. So if I've been quiet online on our Instagram, that's why. I'll be back next week. But anyways, I see you because I was you. I am a lost mama, now a rainbow mama, a seasoned critical care nurse, and a trauma-informed Holy Yoga instructor. And I have a huge passion for holistic wellness, mental health, and that is how A Soulful Sorrow began. This is basically a holistic healing space for women navigating pregnancy loss and pregnancy after loss, complete with online courses, communities that combine neuroscience-backed and spiritually infused holistic healing modalities like yoga, breathwork, and somatic body work. So like I mentioned, we really go into the depths, into the deep with women, and really can meet you anywhere that you are on your journey. So a little bit more detail of like how this all started. 7 years ago, after almost 10 years of infertility treatments and surgeries and procedures and all the things, if you know, you know, we finally got the green light from our doctor to try and go ahead and get pregnant. And so when we did, we had 2 back-to-back losses, and that completely shattered my mental health. I felt like everything that I was running from in my life kind of came crashing down when I had those losses. And when I looked around, I was so hungry for healing. I was so hungry to find growth and purpose through this experience. And I really only found like this tonality online or from different groups that was kind of like, yeah, welcome to the club we never wanted to be a part of. And that's like where it ended. And I was like, thank you. Number one, thank you, because I need to know that. I need to know, but what's next? And I couldn't find what was next. It was just kind of like, well, this sucks and we all just stay here. Meh. And I was like, no, I want this experience to be transformative. I feel things shifting and moving in my very being. How do I move through this with a little bit more meaning and depth? And so I started to dig into healing modalities, and that is how A Soulful Sorrow began. So I started doing, some grief work and different things like that, but nothing was quite right. Nothing really was tailored for a mom who just endured pregnancy loss. And so I found myself going through these seminars and these trainings, and I would tweak everything to make it work for myself. And then fast forward to around now for over a year. 2 years ago, put it on my heart heavy. Like, you found and created some type of a pathway of healing. What would it look like for you to actually create what you wish existed? And so that's what A Soulful Sorrow is. And so we're so grateful to be here. And in a lot of ways, we're just getting started. So I'm going to go ahead and read an opening blessing for us and light a candle together. If you have a candle, great. If not, I am lighting it in honor of my babies and all of yours as well. So I'm going to go ahead and light the candle now. And if you have one, you can do so as well. This will remain on right next to me here. As I go ahead and read this, if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, or maybe even just placing your hands over your heart or on top of your thighs, just as a way to kind of ground and arrive. May you feel seen. And in times when you do not, may you know that you are deserving of. And in times when you are not, may you return to your breath and simply be. May you know your body. May you know a softer way of being. May you know your worth. And in times when it is hard, may you choose yourself over others, even if only for a moment. So that moment is now. Over this next hour, get to really take care and nourish ourselves in a deep way. So I invite you to just come as you are, however you find yourself today. If you are on the struggle bus, if you're like a hot mess express, you're good. Like, come as you are. If the tears are right on the surface, or if they're already flowing, like, let them go. You are in a safe place to show up exactly as you are. Whether your loss is new and fresh and you're just beginning to navigate this, or you are a seasoned griever and you're still trying to look for tools, you are welcome anywhere on the spectrum of your journey. And so I just ask throughout, this experience that as we do things today, we'll be journaling, we'll be reflecting, we'll be talking a lot. Really just practicing curiosity versus judgment towards yourself. I think it's interesting how much we judge ourselves and how much we think that we should be grieving in a certain way, or we should be, farther along in this journey and whatnot. So with all of that to say, we can put those things to rest during our time together. So let me go ahead and click next. So we today are going to be talking about honoring secondary loss. So the term secondary loss is something that is, can be applied to any grief, any loss. But in regards to what we're talking about today, it's honoring all of the secondary losses after we've miscarried, after we've lost our baby. So basically, secondary loss, a very simple term, is just where there's death of a loved one, it's considered the primary loss. So our pregnancy loss is that primary loss. I know that you all know that moment that you recognized and you knew that you had lost a pregnancy, you had lost your baby. Like, we can all, when I say that, like, I know in your body, in your mind, in your heart, you go to that place. That was the moment, right, of that initial primary loss. And then all of the experiences that flow from that death are actually called secondary losses. And so that's what we'll talk about today, and we'll unpack that. And you get to identify where in your life you're experiencing secondary losses. And honestly, it's kind of like, if you think of, throwing a pebble into a pond, the secondary losses are those ripples, and they continue to go out. And it doesn't matter how much time has passed, new ripples will come. I don't know if you guys have found this to be true yet. With every passing year or every passing season, like if you got pregnant, for me, I found out with my first baby, I was pregnant the 4th of July. And every 4th of July, my body remembers. Every 4th of July, I have a moment where it's another ripple. It's another secondary loss where I'm like, oh gosh, remembering that, right? But it's not just waves of grief. It can be, but it's also very practical ways, right? That our life is interrupted. So I don't know about you, but for me, when I experienced my losses, it was like, yes, the loss of this pregnancy and everything that went with it, right? Like when we see those two pink lines, we automatically imagine our whole life with this person, right? Who they're going to be, or the things you're going to do with them, the things you're going to teach them, the things in life you're going to experience with them. So it's like all of your hopes and dreams are also a secondary loss. Identity is a huge part. And like we can sit here and probably unpack each of these things like all day long. Identity shifts dramatically when we go from this new identity of being a mother and we're pregnant, right? And then all of a sudden we shift over into this new weird like gray zone of identity. And we're like, well, am I a mom? I don't know. I feel like a mom, but now I feel like maybe I shouldn't feel that way. It's unique for each of us. And so I really struggled with the identity of like, if I'm a mother. And here at A Soulful Sorrow, we acknowledge and we empower you to say, yes, you're a mama. Even if your babies are not here earthside, you absolutely are. And it's okay for you to claim that identity, even in a world that discredits it, right? I already kind of touched on like hopes and dreams. Your support system shifts. Like hop in the chat if you guys, if any of these are hitting and you're like, yes, this totally hits. I don't know about you guys, but when I had my losses, I was actually really shocked of who showed up and who didn't. Like I for sure thought like, okay, my best friends, my mom, my sister, like these people are like my people. And it was kind of lackluster. They were there, but they really weren't. And then I kind of got the support that I needed and craved actually outside of them. Some from people I didn't even expect that came out of the woodworks that were like, hey, I've been through this too. Or like I said, kind of finding people online like this community too. So your support system, there's a lot of secondary loss. There's a lot of changes with relationships, our health, our body, right? Like people also don't talk about this, but when we get pregnant and then subsequently lose that pregnancy, we still go through postpartum period. Our hormones change, our bodies change, right? Some of us have had milk that has nowhere to go. There's so many changes with our body, weight fluctuations, hormones, mental health, right? All of these things are so vast and different for each of us. Self-worth, that's a huge one for me. I don't know about you guys, but I just felt like such a failure. And I knew that in my like logic brain that I wasn't a failure, but I still somewhere deep inside of me, I just felt like a failure. I was like, I can't even bring a baby into the world. Like that, I'm being really real and honest right now. Like that really sears your soul on a deep level. Faith is challenged. I don't know about you guys, but my faith, I've grown up as a Christian for majority of my life. And it was like, I was so angry at God. Faith and spirituality and purpose and all these things, it just like felt like nothing connected. It didn't make sense to me anymore. I was so angry. So if you've been there, you're in good company. And then obviously relationship with your partner changes, right? Like honestly, my husband and I were on completely different planets. I felt like for the longest time, we grieved very differently. For us, right, it's very visceral. We're going through the experience. If you guys follow us, we talk about how pregnancy loss is literally the passage of death through our bodies. It's a very, very significant energetic shift and experience that we are having. And so my husband just could not wrap his head around that. Like it was really hard for him to connect with me. And then let's not even get started with all of the complexities of intimacy. Hello, like that is a whole other ballgame too that people don't talk about, where you're like, I don't know about you guys, I almost felt like nothing happened in my losses, but it was a very traumatic experience. And I just felt like I wanted to protect myself, protect my body, protect my womb space. And so like sex and intimacy felt very like almost like uncomfortable for a really long time. And so there's also something that people don't talk about. So these are all a lot of significant secondary losses. excuse me, I'm getting through a cold. I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. It's just like one of those things that's just like lingering. Um, okay, so now it's kind of like a time for you to just kind of start to get a landscape of your life, of your loss. So like which areas of your life have been most affected? Um, Here we really talk about holistic healing. So breaking it down in like mind, body, and soul. You can even write on your paper if you'd like, 3 sections and kind of write through like mind, body, soul, and kind of just like take a mental inventory of where you have endured secondary loss. So with your mind, has it been mental health? Has it been relationships? Work changes a lot, right? We have to ask and advocate for ourselves to be off work. We need space. Just as if we had a baby, we need time to heal in a world that doesn't give it to us. So that can be really, really challenging. Financial stresses, right? Missing work, fertility treatments, medical bills, so many different things, guilt and shame, identity shifts. Oh, I listed work 2 times. Oops. And I just wrote the glow bubble popped. And what I mean by that is like, these like gorgeous, beautiful women who are having these like effortless pregnancies and like they just like float into the delivery room and like float out. And it's like all wonderful. Everything that's been depicted for us in Hollywood, right? It's like that glow, that pregnancy glow that has been like that bubble has been popped, right? Like pregnancy, and I've gone on, like I've mentioned, to have babies earthside, and I've endured pregnancy after loss, and it is not for the faint of heart. You kind of have like your innocence taken away in a lot of ways in regards to pregnancy and the whole start to finish experience. Now in the body, disconnection to self. Like I didn't really have the words. I was just like, I don't feel like myself. I don't feel connected to myself. I just feel like discombobulated completely. Distrust of our body. That was also huge of like, I don't trust myself. I don't trust that my body knows what to do. I don't trust that like these hormones are going to come in at the right time and do the things, right? Health issues, postpartum body changes, and then soul. This is like the hopes and the dreams and the purpose and the meaning and the faith being challenged. So just kind of sit with that, write a couple things down. I'm going to clear my throat real quick and try to mute myself real fast. So, a beautiful reminder, and I think this is always a good reminder for us. If you need to write these things down, even as like affirmations, you can. But just remembering to honor the fact that your story and your journey is completely yours. Your unique path and your story is yours. And I know that there's temptation in the lost community sometimes to almost like compare losses or compare secondary losses from one person to the other. If someone has an ectopic and they had to lose an ovary, it's like, oh gosh, like she has it worse than I do, or whatever. I just have to say, I know that like as a human, that's how our brains work and we landscape and we try to find our place in things. But truthfully, when it comes down to it, it doesn't actually serve us. It does not serve us to minimize our pain, looking at to the left or to the right. And so just having the gift of validation for your primary loss, for your secondary loss. So there's parts of our journey that are so unique, and we can sit here and talk about all the intricacies of when it happened and how it happened and what you wish went differently or what you wish you knew, right? So what are those parts of your story that have been hard for you to accept? And then what secondary loss would you say is like the most pressing right now as you went through those things? And only you know that, right? And it'll change, it'll ebb and flow, but just kind of bringing to mind maybe 1 or 2 secondary losses that really feel like the biggest right now in your life, because we're going to do a little exercise with that. And then just kind of sitting with like, what would it feel like to actually cover these spaces with love, grace, compassion, not judgment, not comparison, right? So there's this belief that we really talk about here a lot, we talk about reclaiming our mind after loss. It's a lot of work because our monkey brains like to create narratives and stories that sometimes are not true. And we have to combat those with truth. We have to almost train our monkey brains out of that little loop cycle, those tapes on repeat, right? Which for me, I've kind of shared a couple of like, I'm a failure. I don't trust my body. I'm not a mother. Whatever those things, I should be more healed by now. Like there's so many tapes playing, I'm sure, in your mind. So what stories have you adopted around your loss and your secondary loss? If you even want to write those down, please do. Things that you find yourself hearing or saying to yourself often around your loss. And then what are the common things that you say to yourself that are unkind or critical of your loss experience? And I'll give you a tip. Anywhere in your mind that has the name or the word should, that's your cue. If you are telling yourself any should statements, yeah, that will point you to those narratives and tapes that you want to address. I heard a beautiful description of what shoulds are. Should is basically could, shrouded in shame. So it is this shameful animal, and we need to learn how to tame it. And then just for a little lightheartedness, we talk about this a lot too in our community, but like, I'm shooting all over myself again, like shooting all over yourself. Just don't do it. We'll help you. We help each other, not shoot all over each other. We're all over ourselves. Oh, okay. So now is this time where it's one of my favorite parts of when we gather, where we've talked about kind of like our discussion. We've gotten kind of the juices flowing of around secondary loss, starting to identify with our mind, right? We've gotten kind of like mental with it. Now we're going to get more physical with it. And what I mean by that is just for the next 5 minutes, we'll just hold space. I'll lead you through a really gentle, kind of like guided meditation. If you are comfortable with that, or if you've never done that before, just practice curiosity. Like if anything, it's just going to be a nice 5 minutes for you to just relax. Take what's for you, leave what's not. And I will kind of guide you through and help you on a deeper level identify and honor some of these secondary losses. And then right after this time, reflective time, I'll actually ask you to open up your journal and we'll go straight into reflective journaling. Because oftentimes, a lot of times when we let down our guard and we sink into our body and our innate wisdom can really talk to us. And so that's why we want to get right into our journal and then journal out and reflect what came through for us. So if you haven't already, go ahead and get cozy. Please, if you'd like, you can shut down your camera so that way you just don't even have like the concern or worry of like, is someone looking at me? Am I doing this right? Like you are in your safe space, your safe little bubble. So go ahead and just get comfy. You can lay down, you can sit down, you can be in a chair, in a couch, in a bed. You do you. Grab your favorite blanket, whatever you need to do. And I just want you to start to just kind of move and sway. And if you're in bed, you can start to just move side to side. Maybe taking any neck stretches or just any like stretches that your body is craving. And we do this just to start to quiet the body a little bit. And then we're going to do a little something called eyeball yoga to help us sink into the parasympathetic nervous system. It helps us relax. And so what you'll do is keeping your eyes open, looking right at me. You're going to start to actually look now left and right. Your head is going to stay forward. It's only your eyes moving. So it's kind of like eyeball yoga. So you're going to look left, you're going to look right, and you're going to look left and right, back and forth. And what you will feel in your body, you're going to start to feel this urge to take a yawn or even a deep breath. And what that's doing, it actually just is triggering our vagal nerve to come in and calm our body down. So once you feel that breath or that yawn and it feels safe, go ahead and close down those eyes. And just start to pay attention to where your body is in contact with the surface beneath you. So if your feet are on the earth, go ahead and wiggle those toes and plant them firmly against the earth, feeling that support beneath you, feeling the chair or the bed or the couch beneath you, cradling and holding and supporting you, holding you up effortlessly. And now coming to bring the breath to your mind, go ahead and start to just deepen your inhale and lengthening your exhales. And then together we'll do some breath. So go ahead and inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 3, 4, and go ahead and sigh it out. 3, 2, 1. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top. 2, 3, 4. Go ahead and sigh it out. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Holding. 2, 3, 4. And exhaling. 2, 3, 4. Again, inhaling, filling up your lungs, holding at the top, and sighing and letting that all go. And now, as you just allow your breath to go back to its rhythmic being, with every exhale that you experience, just imagine your body sinking deeper into the support you feel beneath you, feeling held and supported. We're going to go ahead and just check in with ourselves and how we're arriving today, doing a little bit of a body scan, almost imagining as I guide you through this, like you're looking at yourself like an X-ray machine. Starting at the very crown of your head, we'll move from your head all the way through your toes. And we're just practicing that curiosity, asking ourselves what's hanging out in our body. Oftentimes emotion or thought can hang out in our mind and our body. So starting at the crown of your head, imagining this imaginary X-ray machine, just taking inventory of what's going on, starting within and around your mind. Maybe you have racing thoughts. Maybe it's pretty quiet, just noticing we're not attached. Coming back down through the throat, using our voice. Maybe that feels strained or silenced. Maybe it feels open or closed. Coming back down through our heart space and our chest. Oftentimes there's a lot of emotion here. What do you feel here? Does it feel hollow? Does it feel dense? Does it feel sad or angry? Or maybe just numb, disconnected? Just noticing. Coming down through the belly. Just noticing if there's any sensations or emotions wanting to come forth. Our nervous system is very intricately connected to our intestines and our GI tract. If that's feeling constricted or open, coming down through the womb space, which holds so much energetically for us. Maybe this feels heavy, painful, sorrowful. Sit with what comes up. Moving down through the hips, down through the thighs, the knees, tops and bottom and back of your thighs and calves, all the way down through your ankles, toes, and finally the bottom of your feet. Now, as you scanned through your body, I want you to bring to mind the area that talked the most to you, or maybe felt the most, I don't know, energetically charged or confusing, or you couldn't quite name it, maybe. If you can, maybe even place hands over that space. So maybe that's your womb, maybe that's your heart, maybe that's your head. And we're just going to go ahead and just breathe here for a moment. Deep inhale. I want you to audibly exhale. Go ahead and do that 2 more times. Imagining love and healing and support around you as you inhale, and exhaling all of the things that don't serve you, all of the difficult emotion that you'd like to free up a little bit. Again, inhale the support and the love around you right now, and exhale anything that is not serving you. Now, if you'd like, you can bring your hands to your heart space if you haven't already, and almost gently bow your chin as if you're listening in as to what this heart has to say. So I want you just really gently to think back to your primary loss, that moment that we spoke of when you found out or when you just knew that something wasn't right. This moment holds a lot for us. As you're watching yourself almost third person, is it possible for you to come around yourself and almost envelop yourself in like a cocoon or a bubble of love and compassion? Maybe if you're able to, in your mind's eye, almost give yourself a hug in that moment. And now that we have honored our primary loss and who we were in that moment, I want you to zoom out and start to call to mind those secondary losses that we spoke about. The areas in your mind, body, and soul that are really hard right now. As you think of those things, go ahead and envelop those yourself if needed, even if it's current day, with love and support around you. Now these secondary losses are honored and seen and now held with love and compassion. I invite you to actually bring your hands out from your heart space and actually out in front of you as if you're waiting for somebody to surprise you with a present or something. And now I want you to imagine those hard parts of your story and maybe those secondary losses as well, as if you're holding them out in the palm of your hand in front of you. Maybe you can put in your hand also those tapes, those shoulds. Place those in your hand as well. And when you're ready, go ahead and imagine that love, compassion, support here within this soulful sisterhood and community coming around you, coming around these things, and almost creating a bubble around these things in your hand. And they are heavy. You've carried them alone for too long. So together, our love, compassion for one another and for ourselves are actually going to make them lighter and lighter. And I want you to envision those things starting to float up out of your palm, almost as if a bubble is going ahead and floating up and above you. Go ahead and watch that bubble as it goes ahead and floats up, up through the ceiling, into the sky. And if it's helpful for you, you can even think of it being received or heard by your religious or supportive figures, angels, even your angel baby, God, Jesus, whomever. And trust and know that you do not hold these things alone. And they become lighter as we honor them. So now calling yourself back to this present moment, I want you to go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe deepen your inhales and exhales a little bit. Bring back that movement, side to side motion in your body. And just start to gently open your eyes and then go ahead and grab your journal next to you. And this is going to be your time to reflect and do something called free flow journaling, just so healing. Basically, the concept is that for the next 5 minutes, I'll set a little timer. You are going to have your pen to your paper the whole time. And I know that sounds crazy, but just hear me out. We want all that just surface to just be able to flow out onto paper. And so try your best to stay, with the same thought process, but sometimes our mind hiccups or our monkey brain jumps in. So if that happens, you can just doodle or just write blah, blah, blah until the next thought drops in. Okay. So reflection question is, where have I rushed, shrunk, or minimized my grief? So you can reflect on that. And then some free flow journal prompts. You can use all of these and jump from one to one, or you can just stick with one that really speaks to you. So when I lost you, I also lost. I really need, I can't explain it, but, and I'm ready to release. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play some music. And if you don't want music, just mute me and I'll have the timer on. So that way you guys can see how much time we have. Okay. So if you are in the zone, go ahead and stay there. Continue to write until you feel complete. I'm going to try to, I think I've already done it. Oh no, the timer's still going. This is a new tool that I've come to find on Zoom. So I'm sorry if it is distracting. I will try to get rid of it here. So I know that a lot can come up when we are taking the time to acknowledge, sometimes even for the first time, right? Acknowledging our loss can be pretty significant and pretty emotional. So if you are feeling a little raw right now, you're in good company, and we will talk about how to kind of take care of yourself as the day moves on. And healing is a journey that does not ever really stop. It just changes and it evolves with us. So I hope that you're able to be gentle with yourself on whatever came up. It's funny, this is supposed to say the closing blessing. And we're going to keep our candles going. I am, at least until we're at the very, very end. But I'm going to go ahead and read that blessing once more. So if you'd like, you can close down your eyes and just let these words sink in to close out our time together. May you feel seen. May you feel heard. May you feel held. And in times when you do not, may you know that you are deserving of all of these things. May you be grounded. May you be slow. May you be gentle. And in times when you are not, may you return to your breath and simply be. May you know your body. May you know a softer way of being. May you know your worth. And in times when that is hard, may you choose yourself over others, even if only for a moment. So thank you for taking a moment for yourself and with each other. As I mentioned, every single loss matters. Every story matters. Instead of women experiencing this sorrow silently, shamefully, and siloed off, we want you to experience it in a soulful way and in a supportive way. And so by just being here, you're already a part of this community and this soulful sisterhood, and we are with you and for you. So if there is anything that we can do to support you on this journey, please know that we are here. And talking about how we support you, here are some very practical ways that we are here to wrap around and support you right now. We have real tools, real support, real community. And I hope that today you got a little taste of what we do. So at the heartbeat of what we do is our pregnancy loss program. And that is tucked inside of our app, which also houses our community. It's really, really cool. So you guys can have this on your computer, you can have it on your phone, and you get lifetime access. Just because I know things change and ebb and flow, and sometimes you're ready to do the work and you want to dive into healing, and sometimes you don't and you need a break. And so we don't want to put a time constraint on when you can access it. So once you join as a member, you're a member for life. So you will always have access to it. It's 111 US, but with our promo code LOVED, you can go ahead and grab that and you can join in. It's basically, I'm going to actually share with you guys what it looks like, because I think it's helpful to actually tangibly see what you're signing up for and what something looks like. So this is what our community space looks like online. It's kind of cool. In the events tab, as you see here, it says live because we're live. So any events that we do, any support groups and workshops, you can find those here. And this is our course. So it is a self-led healing, holistic healing tool. So basically we address mind, body, and soul healing. And there's all these really beautiful interactive modules, which I love. We're going to click on the secondary losses, and there's a little excerpt about it. There's a quick little video that goes along with it. And then what I love so much about this is that you're able to comment and talk about it with other people in the group too. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm really struggling with this, or I really want to learn more about this or that, you can go ahead and dive deeper into the chat with everybody there, which is really cool. So there's 3 different modules, there's 26 different lessons, and there's just this really beautiful step-by-step healing journey that you get to go on. So you start with the mind, and we really help make you feel safe and get yourself resourced and have mental health resources, and really dive into those like should cycles, the shame, and all of those mental health issues that come up with loss. And then we get physical and we process our sorrow. And I love these walking meditations. You get to just put them in your ear and go walk out in nature. Sometimes we have you do like somatic practices where you're picking up flowers or you're planting seeds in the earth. You're doing a bunch of different things. There's yoga, there's breath work, journaling, getting really like tangible with what you physically need during this season. And then module 3 is all about the soul and spirit, and honoring our babies and how do we actually honor their legacy. And so we have a lot of beautiful things that you're able to do by yourself or even with your partner to really honor them. And this like guided walk and honoring embodiment where you scatter seeds in honor of your baby is so beautiful. There's so many incredible things. And then we have a resource library that is we're always adding to it. So there's webinars and workshops happening all the time. There's different things that we do for the time of year. We just completed this holiday survival guide, which was super helpful to help people cope ahead for things. You're able to look and find other mamas who are in our community based on where they live, based on their story. So if you're looking for somebody who had a similar experience as you, I guarantee you can find them. In our feed, it kind of looks and feels like a Facebook group, if you kind of, but it's not. It's our own safe little place. And so you guys get to see that. And then like I mentioned here, we have all of our events, which as a member, you're able to come to for all of them. And so we have them booked now all the way through May. So we have got you covered in regards to caring for you and wrapping around that support. So I'm like struggling through here and my computer is deciding to be really slow. So let me go ahead and I'm going to drop this into the chat so that you guys have it. If I can find the chat. Here. If somebody drops it into the chat, like a little like, hello, it'll pop up for me, but for some reason I just cannot find it. There it is. Okay. There we go. So there's that link if you'd like to join, and then that 20% off code, you just type the word loved in at checkout. Now, this is really exciting. One last thing to share with you guys. We just came out with a guided healing journal. And so if you were surprised at how helpful that was to actually get things out on paper, and also if you want something tangible to help almost keep as a keepsake, we literally just dropped this this last week. And so this is available worldwide on Amazon. It's $12.99 US. And inside you'll find some really great journal prompts and affirmations, reflections. There's daily check-ins and self-care. There's really great like encouraging affirmations and quotes. And then there's even some like relaxing coloring pages. And then at the very end, you'll see there's a bunch of different blank journal pages where you get to write letters to baby as the years go on, as the months go on, right? So it's this like beautiful, like little keepsake that you get to have and to honor them with. I love the fact that now we have something to give you guys tangibly in your hands. So it's a perfect thing to just have on its own, or it goes perfectly with all of the prompts and things that you're going to be doing in our community space too. So if you are joining us on recording, we love you. We're so grateful that you are here. And we're going to actually stop recording out of privacy and respect for the women who are here live. But thank you so much for being here, and we honor and love you all. And before they go, let me actually drop in the link to that healing journal. And then you guys can have that too. There you go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording for those of us who are actually still here in real time.